Hey everybody, second attempt at this since darkness interrupted. It's from last night, early this morning, 19th of September. So I haven't read it all, the beginning part, so we'll learn it together. Intrepid they were at the start, Jeopardy means fearless, not yet fully knowing their part in the plan of God the Father, relying on the trust of one another. Apostles each chosen by me, believing little of what I gave unto thee. So speaking about his apostles. Yet they were fearless and full of, psyched up in the beginning, even before they knew entirely what they were going to be responsible for their part in God's plan. They just trusted in one another. They believed little of what I gave unto thee, he said, of what he gave unto mankind. And I assume he's speaking about me. You spoke the words I had given. Through you were spirit driven, as they are now, written down on animal skin initially, so none would know you had been. The animal skin would decay, rot away, hence the words would be lost. So apparently I had writing down the words he gave me to share on animal skin because he didn't want them to last. A lot of things wanted to be hidden from mankind for God's reasons. Probably a faith thing. They were lost to decay in time with the church. So as they decayed and were lost, the church grew with their own version of the truth. That's what he's saying. Lost to decay in time with the church, which rose in power like a birch tree, growing swiftly from the fertile soil, erasing all for which you did toil. So as it grew in power, it erased everything that I shared, like Jesus had shared with his apostles, and constructed their own version of the truth. Remember, the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were not written by them. They're said to have been their words, but they were written 300 years later, through word of mouth and word of mouth and word of mouth and word of mouth. Dreamers woke in coming times, sharing like you seeded rhymes. So there are others throughout time, not just me today, that were woken with their gift to share, be woken in birth, or woken during midlife, or in other ways, to share, like me, the seeded rhymes, which again these words are seeds. Sharing like you seeded rhymes across the lands I did send, some you knew and called friends. So some of them I came across and knew, like this life. Of a purpose common in nature, each of you rose in stature, spiritual stature. Coming to fruition, was bearing fruit of your labor, all 'twas planted with each neighbor. So everything we planted, like now, even though you're not maybe fully understanding everything, or feeling a difference or change in yourself, as I said before, he told me, all these seeds, as long as you're reading them, hearing them, there's seeds being planted, and they'll bear fruit later on, so that's what he's talking about. All 'twas planted with each neighbor, not necessarily physical neighbor, but we're all neighbors to each other. One by one flock has grown, silent in voice, little known. Shepherds in spirit move about, faithfully their duty carried out. So his flock, as we planted these seeds, it's going to add to the harvest over time. It has. These people have grown in, like yourselves, been silent in voice, and little is known about how many there are. His flock. Shepherds in spirit, which will be spiritual, they're in spirit form, move about, faithfully their duty carried out, whether it's in the midst or in this physical world. To the shores of tidal lament, depositing seeds to circumvent. forces of darkness who foolishly ply that of their nature to only lie. So here, faithfully their duties carried out to the shores of tidal lament. And I remember getting the image of tide coming in on a beach, but it brings in a deposit, takes some sand away, but also depositing things on the shore. So the tours of the tidal lament would be sadness and introspective, maybe self-judgment, or it's kind of a slightly negative tone, the moaning and the complaining and the worry and the doubt and the fears on land amongst people across the land. These messages, these shepherds were carrying out their duties to the shores or the edges of this land, to the flock, which is like a tide coming in and depositing on the shore, more and more like I can do with the words, like seeds spread across the land, or doing it on the shores, on the edges of mankind, silently, unseen, depositing seeds that circumvent, in other words, depositing seeds onto the land that circumvent, that prevent or outmaneuver the forces of darkness who are foolishly plying that of their nature to only lie, which are foolishly out there, the fools, in God's eyes, working diligently with darkness, filling the world full of lies, because it's their nature. And knowing nothing of what is truth, which they don't, they went astray in mankind's youth. So these are very old demons, dark spirits. Gathering those lost and alone, minds and hearts no longer their own. So over time, they've gathered up more and more people, more souls, as they passed, and as they're in their life, even today, walking around, controlling them, manipulating them, because their minds and hearts are weak, have little or no faith, so their minds and hearts are no longer their own. I'm sure you all know somebody like this, at least one person. We of the Lord, who've not tasted death, now this is somebody else speaking. We of the Lord who've not tasted death, for we never even took a breath. So these are spiritual beings of God who have never walked a physical life. Shadows of a past so long forgotten, long before mankind was begotten. So their memories of shadows or unknown beings from long before mankind was created. Doers of all the Father commanded, never knowing, never having to be reprimanded. So they did all that the God commanded. They never had to be disciplined or reprimanded or feel God's wrath or discipline, because they did everything He asked of them, following His commandments. Now describing themselves further, faith of kind not seen in men. Even though we walked amongst you when, in infancy upon this land of earth, not soon after the first birth. So they had a faith of a kind not seen in mankind. Even though they walked amongst us, way back when, in man's infancy, upon this land of earth, they walked amongst us not soon after the first birth, first man. The first birth, which would be after Adam and Eve, or who specifically the first man or men and woman were. Now he's telling us that mankind took to heart all we said, yet too easily you were misled. Serpent tongue led astray, as it does unto this day, more and more. Time approaches blink of the eye, where choice to make, live or die. Everybody's going to have to make that choice. Live or die, which means not physical live or die, but spiritually live or die. Where choice to make, live or die, shall be placed before each soul, which still remains in canonical fold. So I'm not talking about every soul, but every soul that still remains in a canonical fold, which is, well, this is this world, or still or in the pit, or those who, basically anybody who's not made it to light, so they've hung on to stuff that they need to let go of, hence their canopic bowl. So those all be making a judgment, have to make a choice in judgment. Everybody's going to be judged. As yet we see a hope remain. So that's encouraging. As yet we see a hope remain, that as end comes, more shall refrain. From the course too many do walk. So they still see a hope that remains in this world, that at the end, as the end comes, more and more shall repent, refrain from darkness, turn back to the Lord. So they see a hope, so that's encouraging. From the course too many do walk, listening to false faces continue to talk. That's all your evangelists, all your pastors, all your priests, all your people that stand up there getting rich off your money, off your misery, off your guilt, off your shame, which they're not supposed to be doing. Perilous words fill their minds, sharing with sheep all that blinds. So they're just like these ones they talked up before, where they're weak of faith or weak-minded or weak-hearted or caught up in the things of this world. They were easily misled and easily controlled by darkness. That's what most of them are, not all of them. So perilous words of darkness fill their minds without them even realizing it, that they're being used. Therefore, sharing with the sheep, their flock, their congregations, all that blind. So they're being blinded, and the blind leading the blind. So sharing with sheep all that blinds them to the truth which they seek. They come in, they're seeking the truth, but they're not being given it. Them to the truth which they seek, full of pride, not at all meek. So they're coming in, they're not being humble and meek for the Lord. Coming in there full of pride, full of love of themselves and the things. Let's look at how some of them dress. All dressed up and all this. Like, what is that? That's not humbling yourself before God. Humble yourself. If you are going to go to church, then humble yourself. Don't prop yourself up. Don't exalt yourself. Don't fluff yourself up. Come to him simple and humble and meek. Full of pride, not at all meek. Not sincere, that's what he's talking about. Part of that. Journey home, a simple thing. So getting to heaven is a simple thing. Cross to the light, nothing to bring. Can't take anything. Physical or internal, that's not compatible with God. Now you ask maybe, okay, if everything here belongs to God, then it is compatible with God. No, because it's the physical in nature. Anything physical in nature can't pass in the spirit. You just can't. That leaves your spirit. But things that you hold inside, there's emotions and guilt, all that stuff, that's not physical. That's emotional, that's spiritual. It ties into your spirit. Anything of negative nature there can't go across. So nothing to bring. Again, it's like abandoning Titanic, abandoning a sinking ship. You gotta leave everything behind. Cross to the light, nothing to bring. That which you possess of no use. Leave it behind, earth's or life's refuse, trash, garbage. That which you hold inside your heart, let it go, or will keep you apart from the peace and glory of heaven, falling into the trap of the seven. Again, God doesn't want you to hang on to that stuff. Some churches dump all this guilt trip on you. God doesn't want that. He even says in the Bible, he tells us in the Bible, he does not like that. He does not like preachers and so forth that dump that guilt on you and make you feel guilty. Make you carry that guilt. It's okay to experience that guilt, because that's part of the healing, letting go, and forgiveness process. It's okay to feel that shame and anger and bitter. It's okay to feel all those human emotions because we're human. But again, he does not want you to hang on to them. That's what you're offering up in your tithe, your guilt and sin offering each day. Take it from the Lord. Take it from me. To feel it, so that's acknowledging to yourself that, hey, it's wrong. Then you ask for forgiveness and believe that he's forgiven you already, if he has, and accept that forgiveness. Know that he loves you, and wants you to let it go, and to let it go. The devil wants you to hang on to it. That's what it says, falling into the trap of the seven, to get you to hang on to that. That's what they want, because it keeps you from God, keeps you from moving forward, keeps that heavy burden on you so you struggle to go forward. God doesn't want you to hang on to it. Guilt, a thing of shallow need. Again, don't hang on to it. It's very shallow. Don't let it get deep inside you. Guilt, a thing of shallow need. Right thy course, but not to bleed. So it helps you feeling that guilt and shame, whatnot, helps you to correct your course that you're on, your path. Forgive yourself, he's forgiving you, and get back on course. So right thy course, but not to bleed. That was not to spiritually bleed, emotionally bleed. That's not what it's for. God gave us these emotions, the ability to feel these emotions, for that purpose, to help bring us back on course, to help us realize that, hey, this is not correct, so we want to get rid of it. He's basically given it to us. He's given us a way to help save souls. He's given us the ability to feel these negative things and then turn around and give it to him so that he can use it. How awesome is that? It's all part of his system. Now he calls out these, like I said, these people that teach you to hang on to that. Those who teach it, or the guilt, and so forth, to weigh you down. Those who teach it to weigh you down. Great deception by face of a clown, the darkness. It's a great deception. Don't buy into it. Father needs all your burdens, again, what I've been talking about, so he can plant all his words in your depth of heart, thus to grow and thus awaken, so too can know the truth of all that ever was. So Father needs all your burdens. Again, he's putting these seeds in you, these emotions, so you feel them, so they can grow, and then you turn around and offer them up and bear fruit. He takes it, transforms it into good to help you and others spiritually. That's what that is. That's what these emotions are. Don't hang on to them, because then they'll fester and strangle you. They'll strangle themselves, strangle you, and drag you down, keeping you from him, as the devil wants. So let go of all that stuff. Let go of all that new and old. Hang on to it. Let it go. Offer it up. Offer it up. And if it's so old and so buried deep inside you, you don't even know what it is, then I understand. I still got some stuff deep inside of me, too. I don't even know what it is. I just continue, Lord, offer up the new stuff. And Lord, anything that's old that's still in me, keep taking that too. Keep taking it from me. And you're offering that up. Don't hang on to it. So he needs all your burdens. That's your tithe. So he can plant all his words in. So he gets it out of the way so he can plant his words in you, because they're blocked. But you got these walls up and these stuff in the way that it can't, it's like having a layer of dirt, and then you got solid rock right underneath that layer, and those seeds can't get down in there to take root and grow. That solid rock underneath the dirt is those walls right underneath it. Those barriers, you block it. So you want to get rid of that. So he can plant all his words in your depth of heart, which is closed off, thus to grow and thus awaken, so you too can know the truth of all that ever was. He wants you to know the truth. You too can know the truth of all that ever was, and why he does the things he does. You're walking around like, I understand, how could God do this? How could God, blah, 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 blah. How could God allow this? You're never going to learn it when you get all this stuff in the way. You're not trying to get rid of it or asking his help to get rid of it. So it's just easier to believe the unbelievers and the doubters and the darkness telling you all this other crap, all this other lies. Tell you, well, what kind of God that says he's so loving would do this? Well, you didn't seek to understand. You're not even trying to understand. It's like being deaf and not putting your hearing aid in. It's like having your eyes, but you're walking around with your eyes closed. How are you going to learn anything? Get rid of it. Don't fall right into these traps of darkness. Wisdom of man, a fallacy put forth, a falseness, a lie put forth. Man has no wisdom. Wisdom of man, a fallacy put forth, in other words, the way man sees things, by those who so full of self-worth. Wisdom of man is a fallacy put forth by those who are so full of themselves. Blind fools bent on destruction while proudly fawning over their construction, what they've built, their church, their empire, their company, their whatever, or their ego themselves, proudly fawning over it. It is blind fools bent on destruction. Nothing of earth belongs to man. All put here so that he can, man, can exist each day in God's creation, praising him, God, with adulation. Entrusted to care for this great gift, we were entrusted to care for this great gift, this earth, this world we live in. Instead, himself sought to uplift. Instead of doing that, we've sought to uplift ourselves, try to raise ourselves up to God's level, over and over again throughout the history of mankind. No more time to be granted. No more wrongs can be recanted. What befalls little or no faith, what befalls those of little or no faith, lies in hands of darkest wraith, the devil. So time's out, run out. Who even now stands before you. This darkest wraith is amongst mankind now in this world. Hidden with one you view. So interesting. It's interesting now. This kind of reinforces what I'm saying about the Pope. So it could be somebody else. The Pope certainly involved in it. Lies in the hands of darkest wraith who even now stands before you, hidden within one you view, you physically see. He's within him. Within one you view upon a pedestal, man-made design. Is that St. Peter's Cathedral? Or is it someplace else? He's in the world. He's preventing water from changing to wine. He's preventing the water of mankind, everybody's individual water, from being changed to wine. Careful, children, what you seek. You are strongest when you are weak. That's right out of the Bible. When I'm weak, therefore I am strong. When I turn to Jesus, he makes me strong. So careful, children, what you seek. You are strongest when you are weak, not when you're strong and acting strong, trying to make yourself strong, and building yourself up. You're just weakening yourselves. So you are strongest when you are weak, humble and meek. Thank you, Jesus, praise God. So that's the meaning of that one. Again, he doesn't pull any punches anymore. Hasn't for some time. Calls everybody out. He needs to be called out. Calling everybody, like, get with it, get with the program. And then fills us in, some about me, some about historical stuff. So he's getting a lot of information in each one. So, awesome, awesome, awesome. That, have a good day. Peace of Christ. God bless.